hopefully.
I've got comments on, so.
Comments. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll give it a few minutes just to let people get on. But I'm delighted to say we've got Greg Stewart here, the Haunted Explorer, Scottish Paranormal. Welcome,
Hello,
Greg.
everyone. Hello. It's a pleasure to be here. As we were just saying, I've spoken to you many, many times via the messenger and things like that, but it's nice to finally speak to you properly.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice. It's nice to finally actually speak to yourself and somebody who I respect so much in the field as
Likewise.
well. And it, you guys really have set a benchmark, I think, within Scottish Paranormal. So yeah, it's an honor to have you on, Greg. Just a few folks.
We certainly, I mean, the way we don't put ourselves any on pedestal or something like that. We've certainly put a lot of work into the building, but we've also been extremely lucky, and the support we've had, it's quite incredible. Not just from our followers and people that come to our events, etc., but other groups like yourself. It's great.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, I think there's a lot of people going about paranormal, the toxicity in paranormal community.
Yes.
But I think on the other side of that, I know that there's a lot of groups who do support each other and look out for each other.
Absolutely.
And I know over the years, there's even been cases that have kind of moved about and, and things between us. And yeah, it's good, and likewise the support that we get, from our followers and folks is absolutely brilliant. So, I mean, you've obviously been doing this a long time. How long have you actually been investigating the paranormal now?
I first got into the paranormal as a child. My granddad was a painter, and he was silent writer, things like that. If I can find it. Shield there, the red one. That was one he painted. That was up around about the Castle Bar in St Andrews. So he was a sign writer, painted loads of things basically, but he was also an expert in gold leaf work. So he worked in places like Falkland Palace. He did the chapel, and he did the King's bedroom ceiling, things like that. So lying for hours, days on his back. Doing the fine gold leaf work onto the ceiling in places like that. People would come in and start telling them stories. Well, have you seen this? Have you seen that? And I used to like to stay with my granddad at the weekend because he'd let me watch Billy Connolly and things like that my mum and dad didn't watch because he swore. And he'd tell me all these ghost stories. So after that, I became hooked. Raised in St Andrews, I still consider it to be the most haunted town in Scotland. So history and paranormal's around me since very, very, very early age.
Yeah. And you then obviously got involved. Was Scottish Paranormal your first group?
Yeah, no, it wasn't my first group. No. It was about 2005, I think it was. Because obviously, life comes along, family comes along. Your priorities change. But it was about 2005 once the kids were that wee bit older, and I could start getting back out again. I started getting more interested, and then I worked with a couple of people. Initially, became a member of what was called Fife Paranormal Research Society, and from that, I actually got to know Ryan O'Neill through when I wrote the book Haunted Kirkcaldy. He helped me quite a lot with that book. So he'd been away from the paranormal for a wee bit for various reasons. Then he came back and joined us there. We were Fife Paranormal Research Society, but we were travelling all over Scotland. So I'd suggested, why don't we change the name? And he said, Scottish Paranormal. His group that goes back years and years. So it made sense absolutely to go with that name. And that's it. Basically, it's just grown and grown from there.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously Ryan's also he's a bit of a celebrity these days.
Yes. Yeah, I consider myself to be very lucky to work with Ryan. He's about 10 years more than I've got in the experience side, and absolutely one of the probably one of the most recognised audio experts in the country. So it's amazing to work with him, learn so much from him. But we work really well together. We bounce off each other. We've got similar ideas, and it just seems to really work, which is great.
Yeah, Ryan for the telly. I heard he likes that.
Likes it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
yeah,
I've got to say, because I always say to people, Ryan for the telly, but Ryan worked 20 plus years to get to that stage. So, it's, I think we need to recognise, Ryan from with the 20 years plus experience as well. Not just as TV works. I mean, he's done TV work long before the more recent series.
Yeah.
There's Lisa saying he actually gets embarrassed by it.
Yeah. Well, I think he's always come across really well in the TV series.
He does, But
yeah, I think he and I've only kind of spoken to him through email and that in the past, but he's a sound guy. He's always approachable.
100%.
And whatnot. So
levels of knowledge, not just for paranormal, but spirituality and things like that. It's just immense. And it's not just like the folk might class as the spooky side, it's the scientific side of it as well. He knows all about all the research that's been done by various universities and across America. So it's quite amazing what he actually knows. But he is very humble about it. So Lisa says he gets quite embarrassed about things like that.
Yeah. No, I think he's
recognized after the telly, and he was just mortified.
Hey, I get stopped in the Tesco's, by complete strangers.
I got stopped in little ones. and Asta. I got stopped in Asta too when we were opening up our office, and I was getting the cake that we're going to have for our opening night. Somebody turned around and started speaking to me. I have no idea who they were, but they obviously knew who I was.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. But no, I mean, you're both sound guys. I mean, you talked there about as well. You've got some books out as well.
Yeah, I've actually I'm working on book 21 at the moment, believe it or not. So yeah, I mean, I started off. It's one of these things. It's always been a lifelong ambition to write a book. I think many people have got the same thing, and I didn't know where to start. I really had no idea. And then over the years, I'd been exploring a lot of haunted locations, allegedly haunted locations. Now my side is the Greg off the telly too. small appearance and Help My House is Haunted, but there is more work coming up. But I can't say too much about it just now. You may see me, Ryan, and myself making another appearance soon. But yeah, I had all this information about all these haunted locations that I'd been to. I just started compiling them. I thought, you know what? The Amazon platform's there now. It's easy to use. I'll maybe just throw them together. Collect, get a few together that I really like. A nice selection across the country. Get them properly edited and put them out as a book and see how it goes. And that first little book, Scotland's Hidden Hauntings, has outsold everything I've done since then. And after the first one, I thought I'll do another couple, and then I did. I think it was 2 more, and then it was the History Press approached me to write Haunted Kirkcaldy, which was the first kind of the mainstream book, if you like, the mainstream publisher. So that went out, and then ever since then, it's been Amberley Publishing, who are predominantly history based. But what I found was, for the paranormal, history is my side. It amazes me how many places you go and somebody will say, "Oh, this castle's haunted," and you say, "Well, who? Why?" Well, I don't know. It's the king. Which king? I don't know. It's the king. Well, why? I don't know. It's just somebody's been told that. So when I'm looking into it, I look back, I find the earliest possible recording of that haunting before it's got arms and legs added to it to fit narratives for people filling in, making up stories as it goes down the line. And then I work from that. So when you're doing that, you find loads of other historical stories that don't have any paranormal connection to them, but they're brilliant stories.
Yeah.
So when I started writing for Amberley, that's what I got the opportunity to do. I started writing for the Secret Range, they call it, which is telling the history of a town through its forgotten and lost history. And you can delve into the darker side of history, so you can get into the witch trials and things like that, which is another area that I've got a real fascination with. So, yeah, I mean, it's been really good. I'm now at the stage that I'm probably going to go back to doing some more self-publishing with Amazon, just because there's so much that I've not written yet that doesn't fit into the main publishers. Most of them have like themes and things like that that you have to fit into, and these are just a bit different. So again, I'll probably just go back to dip my toe into doing a couple through Amazon. But to be honest, I'm so busy at the moment, I really don't have time to do much writing. So I've got one more book contracted with Amberley Publishing, and that will probably be my last for a wee while with them. But I said that before. Then a couple of contracts came along that I'll take that one.
But yeah, so yeah, sounds brilliant. And I think you're right. History and the paranormal go side by side.
Absolutely. And Scotland, you couldn't get a better country than Scotland, in my opinion. I know I'm biased, but
no, you're not alone. I was asked a couple months back. We were doing, it was Danish TV.
Right. Yeah.
We're here, and they asked us, why is Scotland so so spooky? And I says, well, just look at the history of Scotland.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it. Just look at the history. And it's great that guys like yourself are keeping these stories alive, because that's what I've kind of discovered in the last sort of year. I've started delving into more of the old ghost stories. People will give me books and things like that. And I'm suddenly realizing that a lot of this is actually going to be lost if we don't document it and get it back and get it back out there. I'm sure Fife has changed dramatically since you were a child. I know that the Highlands has changed dramatically for myself as well. It's people, the local people don't stay as they used to. So these kind of stories that were word of mouth, they're being lost, and you kind of discover them in old books and things like that. So yeah, it's fascinating. I totally understand your passion and your fascination for it, and the witch trials. I mean, again, it's horrific, fascinating, but horrific at the same time. But delving
so
into
don't associate it. They don't realize.
Yeah.
It's just something they've seen on the telly. It didn't happen here. Yes, it did.
Yeah, and when you delve into the lives of these poor people as well, and and bring that forward as well, I think that's really important. But as you're saying, you're really busy right now, so you've obviously got a lot going on with Scottish Paranormal. Have you got any events coming up?
Yeah, we've got an event a couple of weeks' time at Balgony Castle, which is absolute favourite for ourselves, and that's the one that Rick McCallum from Hollywood Ghost Hunters, he is coming over to join us at that event, along with some of his friends as well. So we've pre-warned them that they can get stuck in and run a session for us. Yep, exactly, spot on, Tracy. We've got to keep this history alive. Isabel Gowdy, that would be a good talk to see.
Yeah, we've done a bit on Isabel.
Yeah. I was along just a couple of years ago. I went and did some work, but I've not completed it yet. But yeah, there's so many tragic cases. But yeah, we've got Balgony coming up, and then I'm trying to think what we've got after that. We don't have very much in July, for the simple reason that I'm going to be a granddad in July.
Oh, congratulations.
So we've kind of held off because there's a 2-week period, before and after the due date that I may or may not be available. But we've got a sleepover at Torwood Castle, which is always a fantastic location. We take our subscribers group, only they get to come. Witch Museum in Leven, is there, Nicola? Hello, Nicola. So that'll be quite interesting to go and see. But yeah, Torwood's fantastic, and it's more a social event than anything else. We will spend time in the castle. The woods around about the castle are very, very active as well. So we will go into the woods, but we'll have a barbecue, and we'll all be camping out outside the castle through the night. So that's always a good one. And then we are going to Bannockburn House the week after that, which I love Bannockburn House. Absolutely one of the most active locations we've been to. And then we're back to Castle Mingus in August. We're actually fully booked for events for the full year. We're starting to put together a event format, events for next year. We're just trying not to get ahead of ourselves. Yeah, as Tracy says, Torwood Castle's forgotten. Torwood's fascinating because there's so little actually known about the castle.
Right.
It's one of these places that is believed King Robert met with the Knights Templars at Torwood on the night in between the 2 days of the Battle of Bannockburn. It's believed he met with the Knights Templars, and the Templars then aided him either through advice or actually taking part in the battle on the second day, which was the decisive day.
Mm-hmm.
But things like that are never going to be written down. So exactly as you said earlier, it's one of these local bits of knowledge that gets passed down, but as people start moving away, it just gets lost. So we have to keep these things out there so people are aware of it. And there's a lot of fantastic work going on at Torwood. Yeah, I mean, the land around us, you've got the Broch, and you've got the Blue Pool around about as well. So it's a fascinating area. And William Wallace is believed to have hidden in a cave near Torwood Castle as well. So lots and lots going on around there.
Yeah, sounds actually awesome. I mean, it's one of the things we've talked about doing is trying to get south a bit more. And hook up with other groups and whatnot.
Well, the flip side is we've talked about coming north, and obviously we'll come up and hook up with yourselves as well.
Yeah.
But the Highlands is an area that we've not explored very much ourselves. And it's definitely an area, but we've got a plan in place that I'll not say too much about just now, because again, we have to wait and see how it pans out. But if it works out, we will be traveling quite a lot more, starting from sort of a month or two's time. Cool. So we may well be popping up.
Yeah, plenty up here, that's for sure.
Without a doubt, yeah.
The whole country. I mean, but I think we are, as we said, we're so fortunate in Scotland. I'm a bit of a broken record. Every time I do lives, I seem to end up bragging about how great Scotland is. But it's true. We are just, we've certainly been.
We've talked about that anyway. So I mean, I'm sure that it will happen. We'll come up. You can come down, and we can share locations.
Yeah, definitely. It's there's some up here that you've definitely got to go to.
Yes,
So it'd be great, and great to see how you guys get on up here as well.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's what we like working with other teams, because if you bring in different methods, different thought processes, it can, as you'll know yourself, it can just change the type of activity, what the results you get. So it's always good to bring people that haven't been at that location before in, see their method, see what they get. It'll be fantastic to say if you're down, we'll try to get you into a place like Balgonie Castle, and definitely try to get you over to Torwood.
Yeah, well, as I said, we're trying to arrange things at the moment. Something that was going to happen in September is not happening in September now. Right, so we've kind of got September freed up. October, probably the same as you guys. October is just mental. I don't think we get a weekend off in October.
No, and unfortunately, I've just passed a potential other problem one due for October. That could take up quite a lot of your time.
Aye.
I'm saying problem. I don't mean a problem as in it's a bad. But it could.
Yeah, I mean,
it's in a busy period already.
But I think you're the same as me, Greg. I think if people are passionate, you're happy to
100%.
take them around a little and show them, and I think it's I think that's key. That I kind of feel honoured that I can pass on what I know, what little I know. But it's good. I mean, to be able
you know an awful lot more
able,
about Irie than most people, believe you me.
Yeah, thank you. But as I said, it is an honour to do it. And as you said, you've got Rick coming over from Hollywood Ghost Hunters. He'll be up seeing us as well. I think at the end of the month. And it's always cool to hook up with other groups and show the locations and see what they pick up.
We have the attitude that if somebody is going to make an effort to either travel to Scotland or travel from part of Scotland to another part of Scotland, the least you can do is spend some time with them and show them around. So anyone that approaches us for some, just even some advice on locations, will always help them out.
Yeah, that's good as well. I mean, I know we get emails from time to time from folk who are just starting out. Where can I go? And we always spend the time and go, look, you can try here, go there, give them advice and tips. There's no location belongs to any group. It belongs to everybody.
Exactly.
And I think, as you say, the more groups that go, you get different approaches and you get different results. And it's, as I said, it's sharing that it's so that you can actually learn from it.
100%.
So
that's why we've got the exclusive access to Balgony, but we will take anyone that we can. That comes over. Rick's been there. It's one of Rick's favourite places in Scotland now. So we will take anyone that comes over. We took Mark there, I think, when he was over. Anyone that comes up, we always try to get them into Balgony, just simply for that reason, to get different approaches, different thought processes. Because we know what we've got there. We've been investigating there for many, many years, and we know what we've got. But just because that's what we've got doesn't mean somebody else isn't going to uncover something else that may be lurking in there. Castle Fraser, is that another one you're doing?
We're doing Castle Fraser. Yeah. Well, you never know. Yeah, we were at Castle Fraser last year, and it was the first time we'd actually done an event for us.
Yeah, all right.
To raise funds for us. So it was something we didn't go into kind of lightly. We thought, should we or shouldn't we? But we'd done an event earlier in the year where we'd gone up, and we always do events for charities and community trusts for nothing. We never charge for that kind of stuff at all. And we worked out that doing these 2 days away from Inverness actually cost us as a group £800, and it was
exactly the same as us.
I was like, we can't carry on.
We've had it all from you shouldn't be making money at the paranormal, you shouldn't be charging to come to your event, it's a ridiculous price. But people have got no concept how much a castle costs to hire, how much insurance you've got to take out, cost of your equipment, travel, stay. I don't think we've run an event yet that hasn't physically cost us money. And that's not to mention the 15, 20 years plus that we've spent growing what we've got at our own expense as well. If I thought about how much money I've spent, I'd probably have a nice holiday house someplace bought and paid for, but I don't.
Likewise. I actually, for the first, and I never done it before, actually at the start of this year, I sat down and worked out the group's expenses, how much money we put out every month on website costs, StreamYard, all that. And if we were a business, the administrators would have been called in a long time ago.
It's horrific.
And I mean, we've been very lucky as well, because we've met so many lovely people who actually have opened their doors to us or organized an event for us and things like that, so that we go along and just do what we do. But I'm totally with you. I've seen even this week, I saw
people don't realize how much
event bashing,
and it's got to be a passion. As you say, when the amount of work that goes into it all. There's Stefan. We're just talking about him. We're just talking about the passion, the lack of finances. We travel across the whole of Scotland. We travel down to England. We've been across to Ireland, etc. It's all at our own expenses. All the equipment we've got is at our own expenses. Yes, we charge for events and things like that, but every penny we make, we don't we don't even cover our own expenses getting to locations and things like that. So you know, it's not a money maker.
No. I mean,
circumstances.
we're very lucky as well. We took last year, we kind of said, right, we're going to Castle Fraser. There will be a bit of money in the bank for the accommodation, but the entire group said, no, look, we're getting to investigate Castle Fraser. We'll pay for our own accommodation. So we all just paid for our own accommodation out of our own pockets.
I've got to be honest, our group's pretty much the same. All of our team members are the same. They don't ask for any expenses. They cover all their expenses, whether it's travel, hotel, food, whatever. They pay for everything, which is very fortunate for us, because if they didn't do that, we wouldn't be running. Simple as that.
I know. Likewise ourselves, and then thankfully, because of that you've got a bit of money there to actually book locations. But the event thing is, there's a bit my tongue a few times recently on Facebook. Felt like saying, look, just hang on a minute. There's a bigger picture here.
Yeah.
I mean, we've always said one of the reasons we do events is to get into places that we wouldn't otherwise get into. Yeah. But the other side of it is, it gives people an opportunity to do what we do that they wouldn't actually probably get otherwise.
Spot on.
And it's always been, I mean, I'm quite sure you probably get, at least, well, you probably get more than one email a month with somebody wanting to join the group as an investigator. Yeah. So, we kind of thought, well, the only way we can really do this is to basically go, right, okay, we'll have events. You can come to events. A lot of our events, the same people turn up at. They can be all over the Highlands and
really loyal group that come to virtually everything.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, most of the group now are actually started out coming to our events. As well. So that it's kind of progressed that way. Because certainly in the past, we had people who. Not a lot, but some people who, I love ghost hunting. I want to ghost hunt, but they didn't want to do anything other than turn up on the night.
Yeah.
And that was, And then when nothing happens, they get bored because it's not like Most Haunted or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that we've had some grief about. Yeah. There's Carol. She's a very regular event goer. And what we actually did was, because we were conscious that how many of the same people come to our events, every event, we started putting on some more events on the basis that it would, they could come to some and then you people could come to others, and it wouldn't be so much financial burden to them. But no, everyone wants to come to all of them. So by putting on more, you're thinking, oh no, it's actually costing them more money. But I mean, we do what we can. We offer, payment, pay in two and things like that. So you can book your place and then pay it later on for the more expensive events. We sell them out months and 6-8 months in advance, so that people can pay it up over that period of time. But yeah, I mean, we get the same with the television side, and this is something that we do we always tell people when they come to an event, it's not what you see on telly.
Yeah.
Now, having worked on telly, because for Spook Scotland, Ryan was on the screen, but I was behind the screen on every episode, just as a support for him, and I was working quite a lot with Chris as well. But we try to explain to people that what you see on the telly is 2 days worth of filming put together in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not a case that the second you walk in the door, something happens. But no one wants to sit and watch the 5 hours before that. So the television company's not going to show it. They're just going to show you the snip. So we do really need to explain to people that, what you see on the television isn't, what you'll experience.
Yeah,
100% agree, Carol. Yeah. I mean, what we actually did, I don't know if you're aware that we've got the subscriber group, but we actually took on an office, because we really wanted to establish ourselves properly. And we had this kind of thought that, again, I sound like a broken record, people get fed up with me saying it, but I've always thought that if you're interested in art, for example, you go to the art club. If you like running, you go to the running club. If you're interested in the paranormal, what you do? Where do you go? Where do you meet like-minded people?
Yeah.
So we had this vision to set up a place where it would be a club, effectively. We tried various different social clubs and things like that, but we couldn't get an area for ourselves. And because we had a lot of equipment and things like that we wanted to have there, we needed our own area. So we eventually managed to secure just a small office down in West Weems, which we've converted into our headquarters. But because we've got such a loyal following, so full credit to them and full thank you to all of them, they all wanted to contribute towards the running cost of this place, because again, cost, we're going to have to bear it all ourselves. So we decided we're going to have to give something back. It's not fair that people pay and get nothing. So this is where the idea of the subscribers group set up. So they pay a small fee every month, they get discounts. If they take the 2 tickets that are allowed for every event, it's actually free. But it gives us steady income. We know what's coming in, so we know we can cover all our costs. But through that, what we are trying to do is, as I say, because if you're interested in art, you go to the art club and you learn how to do art. So if you're interested in the paranormal, you can come to our subscribers groups and you can start learning. That's not to say that we know everything. We're not art teachers for the paranormal, if you like. We can share our knowledge and what we've experienced, and people then can develop their own methods. And it has been really, really quite successful. And we have had people from that group that have gone away and set up their own group. They came to us as event goers, and they've since gone away and had the confidence to set up their own group. And not full events, but they take a couple of people out here, there, things like that. So it's good to see things like that progressing. But the other thing we've started to do is that for our events, we're very conscious that our events are pretty much a fixed format. And we watch everyone through the event. And as you say, you get people that come along that want to ghost hunt, but they just sit there, they don't participate. And we're thinking, right, okay, there's Mr. O'Neill himself. You've missed us talking about you, Ryan. You don't want to watch and replay. No. We had these the guests that were coming along and they weren't really participating. We thought this is probably a confidence thing. You'll know yourself from when you first started out. You go along, you're with other people that potentially know roughly what they're doing anyway. And you're sitting there, I don't want to say anything in case I say something wrong, even though we keep telling people there's no right or wrongs in the paranormal. So what we've actually done is we've changed our formats. We've got our standard event. We've got basically a beginners event, which is much more like a Most Haunted live type event. So it's an audience-based event. So people come along, they'll sit in a hall or wherever in a haunted location. It's always got to be in a haunted location. Big camera, screen, and three separate areas. So we will take people picked randomly by a random number generator, and they'll get 10 minutes on their own in one of the 3 haunted locations, and everything will then be beamed back up on the screen. So all the guests can see it, and through this, they start to just build their own confidence. Right, other people have done it, or they start to get scared because other people have done it and they've seen what's happened. So it's just this kind of trying to encourage people without putting them in the limelight as such. They're on their own, so they've not got eyes on them. They've just got a camera pointing towards them. They probably can't see it because it's pitch black anyway. There's Scott. Scott's one of the he's one of our subscribers, and he's great. Carol, Pauline, I can see them all popping up. They've all come along and grown their confidence slowly but surely through their events. But we've also now, because, as I say, people have been coming to us for a long time, and they're now past the standard format of event. So we now started running ones called You Are the Investigator. And it's quite nice for us because we can actually take a bit of a backward step. because we'll take care of everything for the bookings and everything, but we'll split the people into. We always restrict that to 3 groups of maximum 3 groups of 8, 24 people maximum. And what we do with that is basically that group has to allocate themselves a team leader. They go away, they do their investigation, they bring the information back. Ryan will do any audio analysis on it that needs done. We're watching everything on cameras at all times, so we know what's going on. We've got a staff member at each door for each of the areas, so if anything does happen, they can go in. But it really lets people that have been coming to normal events to suddenly then just actually investigate 100% on their own.
That's awesome.
At the end of it, we bring everyone together. What did you get in this area? What did you get? Can we build a story? Is there same consistent, same name coming through? Possibly a soldier or something. What's consistent through what everyone's got, and it's great. It really builds people's confidence.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. I mean, what we do is we do hand the equipment over.
Yeah.
And basically go, right, on you go, guys. But I know exactly what you mean. You will get a few in the room who will stand back, be very reluctant to get involved. Maybe as the night goes on, they see how others are getting on and they get involved. But yeah, I took the format you're saying there. Just it sounds perfect to get people, who've got a passion for it, but don't know where to start. I say to people, I think for the first 2 years, I really struggled calling out.
Yeah,
I was
exactly
the problem I had was the co-founder Anna, who was there at the time. She was such a confident lady, and she was so good at it. I just felt like a brat every time I opened my mouth. And now no problem at all. But it took me a long time to get that kind of confidence.
I can 100% relate to that. Just the initial calling out is just, oh no, people are looking at me. What if I say something wrong? But now I can be anywhere, and if anyone asks me, I'll start calling out.
I know that feeling, Daryl.
I've almost always got a voice recorder in my pocket, so let's just see what happens.
But it's great. It's great that you guys are doing that, because it's so important. There's lots of, we've talked on other shows that I've been on and that about certain TV shows, certain YouTube channels. Quite frankly, they're disrespectful in the way they go about what they do, and it's almost like this is the fast track if you want to. And it's not. So to teach people properly and ensure that they're educated. And Nicola, that was on, I don't know if she's still on. Nicola was saying she's actually started taking her grandkids out.
Brilliant. Well, I actually know Nicola fairly well. Nicola was actually a member of Fife Paranormal Research Society when I joined, but unfortunately through circumstances that were my fault, through manipulation from somebody else, we had a wee bit of a fallout, but she's graciously now accepted our apology. So we're back in good terms with Nicola. She's fantastic on the audio side as well.
She's we had Nicola on the other week, and I've said that to her. I love listening to her work. She got some real good captures.
Nicola was similar to myself. When we first kind of got going with Fife Paranormal, then on to the Scottish Paranormal. We had Ryan initially to guide us through it. Now Ryan's again one of the type that. Talking from the train, something different. Ryan's one of these guys. He'll not say this is how you do it. He'll tell he'll give you advice. He'll show you how he does it, but it's then up to you to work out your own best way to do your analysis. So Nicola kind of got the same start as me through Ryan. She's gone on and developed her skills, and fortunately it took me a lot longer, but now I think I've managed to get a decent ear for the audio, even though it took going half deaf in 1 year to do it, strangely enough. So it's really good at the moment. Oh, there's Mark on now as well. Hello, Mark.
It's great that, as I said, it's something that we're always learning. That's what we always say as well. That nobody's I hate the paranormal expert tag. It grinds my gears.
It's one of these. these areas that we argue about, because I hate anyone saying you're a paranormal expert, but for somebody like Ryan, I think it's perfectly valid to say he's an audio expert. Because he is recognised across the whole of the UK and now across in America as one of the best at the audio work. So I don't think I don't like the paranormal expert, because none of us actually know. It's
a contradiction,
if
isn't it?
If you could be an expert and knew it all, then none of us would be doing this. But people can have a specific area of expertise. Yeah, exactly.
Spot on.
I've been called expert, if you like, in the witch trials and things like that. Again, I don't class myself an expert, but it's an area of personal interest. That I have done a lot of work on it. But for the specific paranormal, that's more of a different area, because I say it's all unknown, and that's why I've never discount any equipment or anything like that. If something doesn't work for me, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work for somebody else. And I've always said that, how stupid would I feel if I said, "Oh, that's rubbish, that doesn't work," and then that conclusive piece of evidence comes along using that method, and I look pretty stupid now, don't I? I'm definitely not the paranormal expert. So I just think it's very important that find your own methods, and that's what we encourage people to do. These are the methods we use. These are the type of equipment you use. Find what works for you. You don't copy us. Go and find whatever is best for you to get results.
So what's your favorite piece of equipment?
My favorite is a device called the Ghost Meter Pro. We call it simply the yes/no box. It's an EMF meter. It has a fourth mode. That's the thing. We try lots of different equipment, and what we try to do is, I'm sure you do as well, try to get the same responses through the two different bits of equipment, which is always amazing. But my favorite is called the Ghost Meter Pro. It's an EMF meter, just like any other EMF meter, but it's got 3 ranges within it. And it's got this fourth mode called communication mode. Now, this is the one I really like. I've personally got a belief that there's information from the spirit world that the spirits are not allowed to tell us. So when communicating with spirit, they have to be very careful. So with a yes/no box, when you're in communication mode, it's once for yes, twice for no, and it's needle movements. So they can't tell us anything that they're not meant to tell us. We can only answer yes or no. Are you male? Yes. Things like that. So I get quite good communication through that. And it's always quite interesting when we've got other meters activating at the same time. Anyone listening or watching that's thinking I'll go and look up this Ghost Meter Pro, it's only the Pro edition that's got the communication mode. The Ghost Meter is readily available. 50 quid they charge for it now. Ghost Meter Pro, you'll be lucky if you get one, full stop. They are rarer than DR60. You won't find them. Although if you do find them, you can normally buy them cheaper than a DR60, but finding them in the first place is almost impossible. It's a really good piece of kit, and I quite like it. It's simple, at an event or something like that. I'll get all my guests during the session to sit right up exactly. Although I just found another one the other day. I always get people to sit in a circle for a short period of time, and we hand the Ghost Meter Pro around, and I'm aware of Eamon. I've not seen so much of his work. I don't actually watch a lot of other people working, if I'm being totally honest, because we're so busy just doing our own stuff that it's just if I could sit down at night time to watch an hour of telly, it's mind-numbing nonsense that I can switch off to.
Likewise,
not anything that's going to activate the mind again. But yes, I get my guests in an event to sit in a circle, and we pass the Ghost Meter around. And hello, my name's Greg. Would you like to speak with me? Hold it for a couple of seconds. If it connects, because I should have explained that when it scans through the electromagnetic field, and when it finds a disturbance, this is when it goes into this communication mode. So we've got no control over it. It could take ages. It might not connect. It might connect it immediately. So we do this, and I just pass it around to everyone. My name's so-and-so. Would you like to speak with me? And we just keep going round the circle until somebody gets a connection. And then we start developing it from there. Is the same person get a connection, in which case, is it a spirit connected to them? Or do they have abilities that they don't know about, that they maybe need to explore and develop further? Are the answers that we're getting consistent? If we ask, are you male, are we getting the same answer every time? And it gives the guest that experience of physically holding this piece of equipment that's the needle's bouncing back and forwards, giving them answers. Yeah, Claire, you take part in many ghost meter sessions. So yes, it's, as I say, I just link it 'cause it's simple to use, it's effective, and it gives people just this opportunity to physically hold it, and they can ask a question themselves. I do quite a lot of talks at the local colleges, around about 5.
Right.
And they're mostly students with additional support needs. Well, we can get on to the death whistle, Scott. They're mostly students with additional support needs that are in these classes, which is brilliant because some of the questions they ask you. You were talking earlier about when you first start out and you're with people who you've been doing it a few years and I don't want to say anything. See, when you're working with people that have no experience, they can still ask you stuff that never thought about that. The amount of times my thought process has changed because somebody with no experience has asked me something, I thought, oh, wait a minute. And you can tie things together. And just it completely changes my mind, which is great. I love it. But I took the ghost meter to one recently, and one of the boys in the class, he wanted to use it, and he made contact with his grandmother, who had raised him partially when he was younger, before she sadly passed. And he asked the question I always hate people asking in that sort of circumstance, are you proud of me? Fortunately, she said yes. But for him, it was an amazing experience because he got information I didn't know the answer to. Mm-hmm. No one else in the class knew the answer to. He knew whether the yes or no was correct. And then he got this validation that his grandmother was very proud of him. So, that was a really unbelievable first paranormal experience for him. So I'm hoping he will go on to do lots of things from that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's great when you can get that kind of reaction. I mean, I know when we do events, I do take special pride if I've got a skeptic who comes in at the start of the night, a skeptic, and by the end of the night, they are completely sold. And it's just to watch their face. That moment when it clicks is just superb.
There's a location that we went to about a year ago now. I'm not going to say it because I don't want anyone that knows to be able to tie things together. But yeah, I mean, we one of the volunteers that helped us were looking after us on the event. It was, why you investigate in this area? It's rubbish. Nothing ever happens here. So by the end of the night, he asked me to go with him so he could go and take his stuff back out. I thought there was nothing happened in here. He goes, I know, but I just like somebody to be with me. So there you go, eh?
Yeah. I've had that a few times.
Just seeing the comment from Mark. I don't know if you saw on Spooked Ireland, where Dr. Evelyn Hollow, she wrote down a series of questions, or words, specific words, that only she knew, and they all came through. I think it was a DR60 Ryan was using, and they all came through on it. So yes, I mean, absolutely. Oh, there's Ryan Griffiths on as well. Oh, Ryan, hope you're well. Heather, I didn't see Heather sneaking in. So I mean, that was one of the main points of both Spooked episodes, to have Evelyn Hollow there as a recognised parapsychologist. She's doing massive work through Uncanny and things like that now as well. So yeah, she was absolutely there from a scientific point of view, and there was so much that wasn't actually shown on the programme that was scientifically tested, and the results were there. Again, because the program, they've got to take 2 days worth of recording and narrow it down to about 42 minutes, I think it is. And including that 42 minutes, they've got to do the introductions, the walk rounds, all the historical talks, all the rest of it. RG, I mean, he was at one of the locations for Spook Scotland. So, yeah, I mean, he's a great guy. And so he knows exactly, he's done lots of telly work as well before. So, he'll recognise what I'm talking about, what Evelyn was doing. She tested everything. There was getting nothing round her. We identified, oh yeah, it was the app. That's what it was. It was the app. Apps are a very, very grey area. I know they're a very grey area, and lots of people are skeptical. I have changed my mind about apps completely. I didn't believe in the apps at the start because nobody could tell me what they were and how they worked. It was way back in the days when EchoVox still first came out, and I was asking people, but what is it? How does it work? And nobody could tell me. I was getting told stories like, oh, the guy just built it to communicate with spirits. And say, well, how does he know how to communicate with spirits? You can't build something unless you know how to do it. He just found out by accident. Well, what was he building it for? I don't know. Well, come on, let's get this story straight here. It was actually, fortunately, Ryan, who he spent 3 years working with EchoVox, because he had similar initial thoughts. He was a bit skeptical, but when you get such clear, concise answers, we actually spoke to the guy that built it, and he found out how he built it. He knew everything that went into this. Because he'd got a couple of responses with a Scottish accent. The guy that built it confirmed there's no words in it. It's just bits out, all reversed. So there's no words, there's nothing in it. I'm still skeptical about things like the Ovilus. I've got an Ovilus because they're good for events. But I've always got that doubt because it's got words in it that even if I got a 100% definite answer, I can't rule out the possibility that it just so happened to come up. But when you've got something that's got no words in it whatsoever, and you get 2 or 3 word answers, wait a minute. This is something different. So, it was mainly through Ryan. We wanted to try our own app. Didn't want to copy EchoVox or things like that. We really wanted to go with ourselves. What RG just said, ourselves are the best piece of equipment. That was our belief when we did the app. We designed how it was going to work. Ryan did all the audio banks for it. He put his own belief system, if you will, like his own energy into these word banks, sound banks, I should say. There's no words in it. We put the word banks out. They're not. I don't think they're on the new website because they've not been added on yet. They were on the old website, and anyone could download them. And we specifically said, if you find a word in this, please tell us. Because the last thing we wanted was false positives. If there is a word slipped through, Tracy's the same as me. It's just, I just can't rule out that possibility. I don't like using the word coincidence because I don't really believe in coincidences anymore. Hello, Jean Lease, is it?
Jeanice,
yeah.
Yep.
I don't have my glasses on. I should have put my glasses on. I can't read properly. But yeah, I mean, to have something that has no words in it, and I say we put the offer out there because we don't hide anything. Everything's open. If you find a word, just let us know. We've had a few very, very Scottish phrases coming through. Phonemes, bit sounds. I can never remember the word phonemes, and when I do try to say it, I normally mess it up. So, but Lisa's there to correct me with the right word. The phonemes. I always say that us, and people laugh at me. Hi, Jackie. People laugh at me when I do that. But that's what it is. I mean, you'll hear it coming out. They're just 150 milliseconds long. Laurie, you're coming over with Rick. Looking forward to it.
I will see you up in Inverness then.
Yep, I think she will be coming up to Inverness, depending on the date. I mean, and Stefan's coming there as well. But we have German coming through it. You know, we didn't know what it was, but Stefan identified it as a German responses. You know, there's no German, there's no words in it. Forget German in it. So you know, it's quite an amazing app that we think, and it was used across the shows, and that was one Dr. Evelyn Hollow tried, because she was saying she was a bit skeptical about them. That's not to say I believe in every app.
No.
Equally, if I don't know how something works, I tend just to kind of avoid it. I want to use these people that likes to know exactly how. Alice Box, we've had different thoughts on Alice Box, but again, because it's full words in it, it's just, yeah, as Heather saying, we've had Gaelic. Up at Lindon Castle, we had Gaelic, I think, coming through on it. Yeah, and Bonnie's confirming French, but we've had different languages. Fortunately, people within our group speak these languages, and could let us know what's coming through. Now, we're not clever enough to do that. I would love to sit here and say I'm so clever. We could build an app that had every language in it and all the rest of it, and it could listen to you, so it could work out. And it had geo tracking on it, so it knew where you were, it knew what castle you were at or wherever. We're not that clever. It's just very, very simply word banks that are thrown out at random, with the theory being that spirit can take these bit sounds or phonemes and remanipulate them back into words. Everything's energy. So sound is energy, spirit is energy. Can they combine the two energies to produce words? I can't say yes, I can't say no. All I can say is that, yeah, I completely agree with that, RG. All I can say is we've had some amazing results. You know, when you're standing in Torwood Castle, for example, and saying, "Can you tell me the name of the castle?" And clear as day, Torwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not there.
No.
Something created that. So
yeah, I need to give this app a go, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm a cynic when it comes to apps, but yeah, I think
we'll
I'll
get
definitely...
your copy sent up. So we've now got 2 cages for us to get out in Apple. So if you're an Apple user, we can now supply it in Apple as well. So
I'm a good old Android myself, but
yeah, so am I.
Yeah, I'm always up for trying something new. As I said, I'm cynical about apps like you.
Yeah.
I think there's too many of them out there that are just gimmicks. You know, but at the same time, anything that is worth a try, and you can't kind of be too kind of narrow-minded, can you? Really, you've got to.
That's 100% the way we all look at it. I mean, John's just saying the Franks box as well. I mean, we've had amazing responses through the Franks box as well. That, you know, I think it was the Franks box we had when we had Rick over at Balgony Castle. iPhones. Nonsense. This is going to start World War III.
Yeah, I'm with you, Greg.
You're live. But yeah, it was through the Franks box. We were in a part of the castle. Balgony Castle is partially fully restored and lived in, and partially ruinous. Stewart, the current laird of Balgony, he's and his family have been restoring it for a number of years now. And he cleared out a new area of the ruinous parts for us to try. So we were in there with Rick. You enjoy your work, Carol. Carol's one of our regulars. We were in there with Rick, and Rick specifically asked the question, you know, who do we have here? It was Lundy. And is there anything we should be afraid of? The energy. Where are you? The bell. I thought, right, okay, we've got the name, the energy. We believe everything's energy, and the bell. So what does the bell mean? We went outside, and right in the corner is an L-shaped castle. Right in the corner is a massive bell. I thought, yeah, there we are. And we asked Stewart about the name, and he didn't make an immediate connection until he started just checking some of the history. It was Lundy that built that extension on the castle. So, you know, you've got the name of the man who built it or had it commissioned. You stand beside the bell, which is outside the door, and the thing we should be aware of is the energy in the castle. Yeah. That's all pretty good through one device, I would say.
And I mean, you mentioned already one of Rick's favourite places, and I know when Rick's been up here before, every time he's up here, he's talking about Balgownie to us. So I know it's one of his favourite places as well. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks,
we are actually out of time. We can carry on if folk want us to carry on, or we can get you
I'm
back
quite
on
happy
again.
to carry on
We'll carry on for a wee bit then.
Yep.
And then, but yeah, I know. I mean, this is Rick raves about Balgownie.
Yeah, he's had a few
mention
quite
about.
intense. Rick's, I don't know if he said it when he's up with yourself or if he's picked up at any of the locations, but he's definitely got a Templar connection. And Balgownie has very, very strong Templar connections still to this day. So, you know, without a doubt, there's something at Balgownie that Rick connects with on the Templar side. So there's something in his personal family history that he'll have to find out himself probably. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's connected.
That's another fascinating, because we've seen that before where there's been connections between spirit and like similar, it's occupation or you know, family ties through history. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. So that's fascinating. So yeah, Rick, I don't know if Rick's on tonight, but Rick, you need to get looking into that, mate, and see what you can.
He's already, because I mean the former Laird Raymond, before he passed away, he gave Rick some personal information that I think meant quite a lot to him, because I think the Laird knew what the connection was or knew something about a connection. So 100%, yeah, Tracy, yeah. Rick definitely brings the spirits with him, brings them in. Brilliant with his K2 work. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. You know, you find the device or the bits of equipment that work for you. For Rick, it's a K2.
Yeah,
it's like just an extension to him as a person. The way he gets communication through it.
Yeah. When he's been up here, he's used the K2 extensively.
Yeah.
With us, and got some quite interesting hits. You know, and I think I also remember we went to Bewley Priory, and he walked in, and the first gravestone as he walked into Bewley was a McCallum.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
he loved that.
He loved it. He absolutely loved it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we've gone kind of almost the opposite way with tech now. We're using dowsing rods a lot.
Yeah, well, I've got dowsing rods as well, because I'm starting to. I've got various theories about dowsing rods. We're finding, and you know, there's a lot of stories about it, but it's difficult to verify. But we're starting to find more and more locations that are built on ley lines. Now, ley lines, as you know, are not an ancient thing that they're made out to be. They're only discovered fairly recently, with people connecting dots, etc. So what they are, whether they even exist, is still open to question. But you know, there's quite a few locations we identified that are on these specific lines. Balgownie being one of them. Now, I've long had this theory that, because we get told there's a lot of castles built in ley lines and things like that. I question where they're dowsing for water, and accidentally picked up a ley line instead. We'll build the castle here,
right?
And that's why they've picked up the Earth's natural energy, and they, as a result, you know, that's why so many of these properties sit on what we call ley lines. Oh, there's Kyle. Yeah, Kyle's very much part of the team as well. He's been coming out with us since he was about 16 years old. Yeah, Lisa, you use your dowsing rods. I've got a couple of sets of dowsing rods now. Stefan, I know, is massive into his dowsing rod. Stefan, if you're on, I don't care, because you know it. You annoy me with your dowsing rods because you don't need them. You know, he can pick them up himself. He's pretty much just said it that it's not the rods, it's the user. So you don't need the rods, Stefan, because you can just pick it up yourself. Other people, you know, they do need the rods just to give this indication. And it's quite an interesting area. And again, it goes back to this, what I said earlier about the way I use the yes no box at events. It gives people something to physically hold. Yeah. And you'll, oh, wait a minute, something's happening here. Why is this happening? Very different experience from sitting watching somebody else doing it.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're actually joking now that we should actually fill the boot of the car up with dowsing rods and sell them, because everybody leaves an event going, "I'm off to buy some dowsing rods. Where can I buy dowsing rods?" I've got a theory that rods that are so successful, because if we're dealing with an old spirit, they're going to be terrified by a K2 meter or modern tech. That's one of my theories. I do think it's us. I think it's definitely energy. I always try to get wrong answers. I always try to use people who I know don't know the answers to the questions I'm asking. And yet, time and time, not always, but time and time again, I get the correct answers that I'm looking for. And even if I then rephrase the question, I'm still getting a correct answer. So I find them fascinating. I mean, when I first picked up rods, they just didn't do anything for me.
I was the same.
Yeah, but over time,
I was sitting moving the rods back and forward, saying, "Look, and just tilt it forward and do this, and I tilt it back and I do that." But I can, but that's not the point. That's not what I'm meant to be doing. So it's learning how to use them properly. And they're definitely. I did similar with the yes no box when I first got it. I tend to always stick once for yes, twice for no for needle movements, but ask a series of questions and then ask the same questions when it reconnected. But I did twice for yes, once for no, and I got the same answers other than one question. Now that to me gave good validation because it was mixing up. I was deliberately trying to trick the box to give me, if it was just randomly, it would give me completely different answers. It didn't.
But that's so important, though, isn't it? I mean, you've got to challenge. You know, it's, you see these groups, as soon as they get a yes, right, that's it. That's where we're going. We're going that road. And it's like, hang on a minute. We were doing an investigation yesterday and I was coming out with all the history questions. Actually, just because the rods we weren't getting any activity on meters or anything. We were only getting and we weren't getting strong responses, but we were trying to get responses. And I thought, well, the only way I'm going to try and narrow this down is using, historical questions that thankfully I'm the only one who knows about Inverness that's there, because the other two, Kyra and Richie, are from through east, so they don't know much about Inverness. They certainly don't know old street names and things like that no longer exist. So, it was interesting, and we got a lot of correct answers in one of the sessions there. And again, you're trying to trick as well to see if you're going to. But that was really interesting yesterday. I mean, we went to a location we're at Abertarf House, which is the oldest house in Inverness. And I mean, it's National Trust property. We're the first group to get in there. It was really, really fascinating. We were told nothing about the building beforehand. I hadn't found any ghost stories about the building previously. So thought, okay, we'll go in. Kyra, who's with us, she picked up on a young girl, and National Trust got back to us today and said, we've asked about, she's seen upstairs.
See, that's fantastic when you get something like that, when it's not public knowledge and somebody gets it. These are the sort of bits of information we absolutely love.
Definitely. I get goosebumps when the history and the paranormal meet.
That's my area.
I can even tell a story that I've told 100 times and I still get goosebumps every time I tell it. Because it just
100% relate to you on that one. And I mean, what Lisa's just saying about us being the conductors. I mean, what you're saying, if you're a complete, absolute skeptic and you're using something like the rods, I'd be surprised if you got much through it. But as long as you're a believer that there's something there, I think you've got a strong possibility. I was linking it to people that, if you were speaking to me just now and I wasn't interested, I just wasn't really answering any of your questions and wasn't really engaging, would you bother continuing? The answer's no.
No, 100%.
So if a spirit is trying to communicate to a non-believer who's not open, not listening to them, not willing to accept anything that happens, why would they bother? It's exactly the same as we do in life. So why would you be any different in spirit?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, Heather, just give us a
as long as you've got at least an element, you're open-minded enough to believe there's something there. You don't have to be a full believer, open-minded. I think things like the rods you will get good results with.
I mean, I don't know if we had this. Occasionally, events you get people turning up who've been dragged along.
You always get the boyfriend dragged along.
You don't want. But we had them. I'll use the word misfortune because it was a misfortune. We had just the way the groups worked together, that we got a group of people who just were not interested, and nothing happened for them all night. And it's like I firmly believe that, and we always say that if you're enthusiastic, the energies are up. You're
exactly, yeah.
As you said, it's the sort of person you'd be attracted to go and speak to.
Yeah.
So 100%. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, none of us are going to go and speak to somebody that's not interested and doesn't want to speak to us. So, that's why we Spirit be different. It's as simple as that in my mind. But yeah, we always get that. It does tend to be the boyfriend gets dragged along for the girlfriend. But as long as they're engaging, they normally get something out of it, which is great. I mean, we've seen some of it happen a couple of times, and now both partners come along.
As I said earlier about the skeptics, you get them, but
exactly.
they're no longer skeptics, and it's job done.
Yeah, I mean, my missus was exactly the same as what John's saying, what Tracy's saying there. I mean, she's interested in history, just not interested in the paranormal side at all. But despite that, I took her to Balgonie Castle, just me, her, and Raymond, the former laird. Raymond loved doing tours of the castle, so he said he'd take her around and show her the castle and tell her the history and everything. And she walks over to the corner of the Great Hall, which is the dining room, and screams. Because there's a mirror there, and there's an old lady standing behind her in the mirror who wasn't there. So that to me is one of these you're not even thinking about the paranormal. Nothing's happening. So yeah, I think from that, she comes along for the historical side, and suddenly she's face to face with it. Which kind of just it opens her mind a bit more to what I'm doing.
It comes back to what you were saying earlier about I'm starting to believe the Spirit has a rule book.
Yes,
it's like we're not to be caught on camera.
Yeah,
where I have seen things, but never have I seen the good stuff when I've been recording.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you get exactly the same as us. Once you switch the equipment off, and you're sitting having a week recap, we laugh about it. Energy levels are up again. Yeah. Everyone's, what was that? And then it starts happening.
Yeah, I mean, I did through lockdown. I did a walk round in Inverness, and I was in a graveyard. I'd switched off my camera and I put it back in my pocket. I looked around, and through the corner of the church, I could see a head, eye, dark shaped head. I thought it was one of the local Jakies because they go around the other side of the church. As I turned to look at it, this grey shape flew across the graveyard and then just vanished into thin air.
Yeah.
And I was in one of those what the F moments, It was and yet again, not filming.
But you can guarantee if you had to film the camera going, it wouldn't have happened, and you would have missed that personal experience that to actually see that.
But we did have one that was really interesting with a medium. So the medium actually, it appears that somebody tried to take over him. He called forward his protection.
Yep.
There was 5 people in the room. All 5 people in the room saw a white aura around the medium.
Right. Okay.
They're all taking photos on various devices. Didn't appear on one device, but every person in that room saw it. And it's like, do we have the tech?
We've got one, a very curious case. It goes way about 10 years now. And it was... we'll catch up with you tomorrow, Jackie, no doubt. She's another one of our regulars. I mean, Lee's a medium as well.
Yeah.
And, he gets... I don't know if Louise has been on tonight either. They're the 2 mediums that we work with. And Lee's picked up... He's had a few... spirit... I don't like the word possession because that's not the right word. You know what you mean when the spirit has taken over a little bit.
Yeah.
We've had a few interesting... Yep, Louise is there as well. Louise is a fantastic medium as well. She does tarot card readings, things like that for our supporter club, because again, it's about giving back. People are meeting on a regular basis, so Louise does tarot card readings and things like that for them. Lee does development courses for them. So
Awesome.
it's all, I say, giving back. But anyway, this case, it goes back about 10 years, and I'd be interested to know your thoughts on it. It's an audio, and the guy that recorded it hears a very, very clear and a very personal answer. Nobody else can hear anything. Is this a case that the message is solely for him?
That's a new one on me. That's a new one on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I always get this every time. I don't know if you guys, nearly every time we put an EVP around the team, everybody comes back hearing something different.
Yeah. That's where we're lucky about Ryan can do all this, manipulate through the software, clear out all the background noises and things like that. So it's much clearer.
That's fascinating. That's like
it's really frustrated because he's playing it. He thinks he's got the best EVP ever, but nobody can hear it, and he gets so frustrated about it. But
can you hear a noise?
No, can hear
no,
all we can hear is him saying something and then silence. But he can clear as day. He's away from the paranormal, unfortunately. So we'll otherwise we'll try to get it and send it to you. If I ever speak to him again, I will send it up to you and just see if you hear anything. But nobody else can hear anything. It was actually one of the mediums that we used to work with said that message is for you. Nobody else can hear it because it's not a message for them. It's for you. So again, it's just a similar thing that the tech, because seeing this aura wasn't for the tech. Is this why it didn't show up on cameras? Is it the same? Audio can only be heard by the people it's for.
Yeah. Well, again, we don't know, do we? I mean,
exactly.
It's fascinating. I mean, that's fascinating. It's not one I've come across before.
Yeah. It's the one and only time I've ever heard of it happening. The only other time I've heard anything similar was it was an old toll booth tower, and I put recorders from 3 floors. The top floor recorded the bells basically getting beaten with a hammer or something similar. The recorders on the 2 floors below recorded nothing. Wow. I don't know.
Yeah.
They both recorded the same length of time.
Same make and model recorder?
Different models.
I'm guessing.
There could be something, but I don't understand. They're all kind of similar age and specification. It's not like one's one thing and one's something completely different, meant to record something else. Not high tech things. I don't tend to use high tech.
But bells are not quiet, are they? So
no, exactly. Yeah, it's bells on a clock tower.
Yeah,
and it is as though somebody is physically beating them with a hammer for about a minute.
It's bizarre.
Recorded on 1 floor, on each level, spiral staircase, and no doors.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't explain it. As Lee said, it's these just kind of wow moments, and that is what drives us forward. Because I'm still all these years later. I don't know how that happened. I can't rule out the fact it was just a glitch. Another 2 recorders for some reason didn't pick it up. But the other curious thing is this clock tower building is right in the middle of a small village. And these were going off about 2 o'clock in the morning. I think people would have complained.
Yeah, I think they would have done.
It's actually set so that it chimes for, I think it's 9 o'clock, and then it doesn't chime again till 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's a case that the other 2 recorders are actually correct, and there was something else happening. And this one recorder's picked up things that were inaudible to the human ear. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one yet.
That's fascinating. I mean, I'm going to time slip. That's the only thing I can think of. A time slip where the top of the tower is where's the rest of the tower has. Don't know. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
one of these really strange ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just picked up on that one from Lisa. We're the same. If we're not confident, we don't.
Yeah,
Goes across the board. We just don't publish it. It doesn't.
yeah.
It
I mean,
it does.
Ryan analyzes 3-4 hours of audio after every event, every investigation. Oh, there's Mr. McCallum popping
There's
on.
trouble. Yeah.
And he'll use maybe 5 or 6 out of all the ones he's got. He'll share the rest with the team, see what we think, but he won't put them out because we can say what we think, but they're not clear enough. For us to put it forward as potential evidence. We never say it's definitive proof. It's potential evidence. People can make their own opinion about it.
Yeah, definitely. It's as I said. The other thing is as well that I actually get to the point where I don't. People are going to challenge stuff anyway, but you don't want to put something out that actually. I mean, I know I've listened to audio clips that have been on TV shows, and I'm going, I can't hear anything. I can't, and from an audio point of view, once in a blue moon, we get a really good one, it's not like every place we go, we get great audio. And a lot of times we're working in places where there's a lot of background noise. As well, and that makes it even more challenging. That's the one downside of Scotland, is always howling gales everywhere. And today we were reviewing some footage, and the guys were reviewing the video footage and said, we've got this really strange noise. And I says, right, hang on, I'll go get the audio. I haven't listened to it yet. We'll sync it up. And it's kids outside. As soon as I listened to it to an audio, it's kids outside.
It's so annoying.
So yeah, but,
and it's when we've done it on live. We've done it live, and we've gone out. Oh, listen to this. It's amazing. And then we do the analysis. Oh, no, but we'll always put it out there and say, look, but we're wrong. This is what it actually is. We're not there to try to convince people that it wasn't. Yeah, Tracy's saying birds are the. Oh.
Yeah, we'd pigeons and seagulls yesterday, and at one point I saw, oh, what was that? And it was in the room. It was this grey dot moving across, and I thought, hang on, a shadow, and I thought, I think that's a bird. And we were standing there for a couple of minutes waiting for the next bird to go past the window to prove that that's what it was.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it always seems to be almost the second we press record, the birds all suddenly decide to start tweeting. Can you shut up just a minute?
Yeah, we had that at Clava as well. We have got a video clip. We've got a video clip of me trying to do a session at Clava, and the cows responding.
The thing is, and I always have to pre-warn people about this when they come to Balgony Castle. The chapel is always the area of Balgony that I work in. The other side of the chapel is a field full of cows. Seeing the sort of, once it's dark, they sound horrific.
Yeah.
You think you had a demon screaming through the wall at you. So I've always got to tell, no, it's the cows. Calm down. There's nothing to worry about here. But yeah, it always catches people out when they start. But yeah, I didn't know cows made that noise, but I do.
Yeah, they can be very vocal when they want to be.
Yes,
yeah, very, very vocal. Clava's got a field right next to it, which has normally got cows in it. So yeah. But no, it's
just always
frustrating. It is frustrating, Maybe it's the spirits that are putting them up to.
Maybe it's a sign. Maybe. Move on.
Maybe. Yeah.
Nothing to hear here.
So what's next for you guys then that you're able to talk about?
We've got we've got a couple of events coming up. We're actually looking at our plans for next year. We're looking to grow the company quite a bit next year. Showcase in Scotland more. We're going to try to put together our own online series touring Scotland, so we'll have full control over it and how it's edited and things like that. So we can include what we want to include rather than what some producer wants to include in it. So we'll include what we think are the best parts. But it's more, we're very much looking to start working with more groups from outside the UK to showcase Scotland, get people over, show them round, do tours, even things like that. It's all, we're all kind of, it's all a wee bit in the pipeline. Our current plans are, I'm hoping to go flexi retirement next year from the day job. Now, flexi retirement only means that I'll be working more hours in the paranormal than I do at the moment. Which I'm sure you're exactly the same as me. I do 40 hours a week in a day job and then 40 hours a week on the paranormal. So I'll maybe doing 20 hours on the day job and 60 hours on the paranormal. I'll still be exactly the same, but at least I'll be working on what I want to work on rather than what I have to pay the bills.
I'm not jealous at all.
One of the advantages getting a wee bit older. They say you should never wish your life away, but I wish it was next year. So yeah, that's a kind of our ambitions. We're just putting things together. It's more to, as I say, we want to show we're proud, so proud of Scotland. We want to explore more. We want to showcase more, and just introduce more people to it.
Yeah, no, spot on. And I think it's a frustration of mine is, I suppose, that I think Scotland, apart from probably Edinburgh, hasn't really embraced dark tourism.
Yes.
And I've got a very good friend who's a tour guide.
The phrase we use now is dark tourism.
He basically takes groups of Americans around Scotland, and he says everywhere he goes, when they stop, the first question they ask is it haunted? Because he was talking to me before COVID about how would you like to do tours with me and do paranormal tours. It's never happened. It's just with the day job, it wouldn't work, unfortunately for me. But it's an area that I think, you guys would excel at.
Do you not find it's an area more and more people are getting interested in, though?
Oh yeah, they're getting.
I think especially since the lockdowns, people seem to be much more open spiritually. There seems to be more interest in things like the myths and legends. Gina, I completely agree with that. I've done my dues doing a job I don't particularly enjoy. It's time to go and do a job that I do enjoy, even though it'll be an unpaid job, but it'll still be something I enjoy doing. But yeah, it seems to be this much more interest. Things like the witch trials. There's after the First Minister issued the apology, and then the Church of Scotland issued their apology, there's much more awareness about these sort of areas. So,
I think
we're talking about tours. We're not talking about just paranormal, dark history, witch trials, things like that, myths, legends.
I mean, I do a ghost walk once a month, around Inverness, but it's more. It's not just ghosts. It's history. It's witches. It's
100%.
The fairies, the devil, the works, everything that's kind of connected to Inverness's past. I also think that Outlander, if I dare say it, has had quite a big effect. It had the witch trial kind of story
right
as well. So,
to be honest, I've never watched Outlander. Right. I'm one of the few.
And I think that has again thrown it a bit more into the spotlight. Yeah, you're quite right. I think in Scotland it's been pushed, rightly so, to the front, and and there's been such a swing away from traditional religion as well.
Yes,
I mean,
definitely.
In the time I've been doing this, we've seen the rise of spiritual churches, whereas your old traditional religions are struggling. Churches are being closed and whatnot. So I think people's mindsets have changed. I was speaking to somebody the other week, and they said as well, I think the world is such a grim place that people now are actually looking for the magic. They're looking for the mystery and whatnot, and going, well, actually, that's a bit of a safety blanket. Let's go there.
That makes I think that makes perfect sense.
I mean, Outlander is not factually accurate by any means, but it's done huge amount
Yeah,
of
I mean, what
business
it's
for
done for
Scotland.
tourism in Scotland
Yeah,
is unbelievable.
yeah,
Yeah, it's proper myths and legends that we're looking into. I mean, like you, I do a tour of St Andrews. I only do it once or twice a year, but people tend to grumble because you know, I start a tour 3 hours later, we're halfway through it. Just because either I start talking and that's it, I can't stop, or you'll get questions and we'll go off on tangents. But yeah, I'll cover absolutely everything down to the witch trials where the accused witches were burnt and things like that, and what sort of things used to happen, and how religion formed, not just St Andrews, but Scotland itself. The control that the Catholic Church predominantly had. For so many years, and St Andrews was deemed Scotland's Rome. So the power that was held there, and as a direct result, the brutality that happened there, which is why there's so many ghost stories connected.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I'll need to come down and do your walk.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. I'm just having a look through the comments here. Yeah, Clava Cairns is definitely not the place it was before Outlander. It's a lot busier now.
People, anytime I go to Clava Cairns, there always seems to be somebody pushing against a certain stone.
Yes.
Just on off chance.
Yeah. No luck so far. Yeah, Pluskerton. I went to Pluskerton a few years ago, Stefan, and I was so disappointed because you know what? I walked up and they had these robotic mowers in the ground, and I just thought, well, that's it, isn't it? The magic's gone.
Yeah. I mean, Stefan introduced us to Pluskerton. I love it. We tried to go there for at least once, if not every couple of years, just to spend half an hour just sitting, relaxing, just soaking up the energy. I mean, in Scotland they weren't mostly midwives. They were mostly simple people that didn't fit into society. We didn't have social security and things like that. So once you were a burden on the village, simplest way is just to burn you. It got rid of the problem. Plus, it gave the townsfolk things to watch. It's a wee bit of entertainment.
Yeah.
So it's quite horrific what happened. I mean, certainly some of them were midwives, herbal healers, things like that. There's without a doubt. But there's a lot of stories about they were pagans and things like that. They weren't, because they were God-fearing Christians, burnt by their own minister because they went out on a Sunday or something like that. How very dare you? That was a life. And again, I link to, well, I don't link to, but I always emphasise to people because they tend to put her on a pedestal. It was Mary Queen of Scots that brought in the Witchcraft Act. She tried to force the women of Scotland back to obedience. Not what most people think about her. Admittedly, it was her son that took it to the next step, but it was Queen Mary's Witchcraft Act that went even further than England's Act, which is why we burnt more than anyone else.
Yeah.
So,
sad times. Yeah. I was just seeing there. Heather mentioned the Bran Seer as well. He's another one who I mentioned on my walks.
Yeah.
And it's amazing some of his predictions, and how they appear to be. He was 100% accurate.
I did one because I wrote a book about Inverness, and it was this prediction about what turned out to be the Caledonian Canal.
Yeah, that's one of the ones.
I remember exactly what his words were, but he was right.
Tall ships will sail to the east and west of the hill of Tomnahura, which Caledonian Canal.
I can't say that. I'm glad you're there to say that.
That's why we call it. That's why we call it Fairy Hill as well.
It's incredible. I've got a couple of books. I've not had time to properly read them, but a couple of books about his predictions, and he's amazing. You can't force a Scottish woman. I love I don't know if you're aware of it, St John's Kirk at Gardenston in Aberdeenshire.
No, I don't.
I love the story of that because it's in the middle of nowhere. It's near Gardenston, the village of Gardenston, but it's across the other side of a ravine. You've got to walk about a mile up and then a mile back down to get to church. So I was always curious, why is there a church there? Why is the village church so far away from the village? But the actual history of it is that it was a Viking fleet was stuck in the bay due to storms, and they were running out of supplies. So they sent a small group of men to land and tried to steal some supplies, basically. There's no town at that point, so they thought it was fine. But the laird had seen them, and he had an army ready for them, hidden. So when they landed, there was a massive battle. A small number of them escaped, and they set up encampment up on this cliff top, where they could see the Viking fleet, and they could also see if any of the Scots were advancing on them. So they held out there, waiting for the Vikings to send another boat up shore to rescue them. The laird prayed to God, if you give me an opportunity to seize the Vikings, I'll build a church on this site dedicated to St. John. The mist came in, they went and did the attack, and that's why the kirk is there. But the historical sign on the front of it even tells you that women from the village gathered with their stockings filled with stones and were smashing the Vikings' heads in. Yeah, you see all these things about Vikings, but no, don't mess with Scottish women.
No. Yeah. Some things don't change, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, absolutely fascinating. Well, listen, we have gone well over our time.
Yes.
It's been an absolute pleasure. We will need to get you back on again because
I'd love to hear some great
blether on for hours.
To speak with you.
We will definitely either see you up here or we'll see you down,
without a doubt.
there. Thanks to absolutely everybody who's joined tonight. It's been really good.
We have lots of questions.
It's
not managed to get an awful lot of them, unfortunately, but
yeah, it's always the way. Unfortunately, it's always the way. But thanks, Greg.
Thank you very much.
And thanks again to everybody who's joined tonight. Take care, guys, and we shall see you soon.
Okay, thank you, everyone.